Sam Pitroda, the Indian Overseas Congress head, has sparked a political row over his remarks on inheritance tax.
In America, there is an inheritance tax. In India, you don't have that. If somebody is worth 10 billion and he dies, his children get 10 billion. Public get nothing.
While the Prime Minister attacked the Congress, accusing the party would snatch property left behind by people for their children, Congress Communications Chief Jairam Ramesh hit back and said there was no plan whatsoever to introduce an inheritance tax.
तो असली बात यह है, हमने कभी विरासत कर के बारे में जिक्र नहीं किया है, वो हमारे एजेंडा में नहीं है.
So what's the story of inheritance tax in India? We explain. India did have an inheritance or death tax once upon a time. The tax was known as estate duty and was introduced in 1953. The use of inheritance tax was for redistribution of wealth to address income inequality. As per the law, the inheritance tax is imposed on the total value of the property held by a person at the time of their death. The tax is to be paid by the heir when they inherit the property or assets. Inheritance tax with a threshold of 1 lakh rupees and progressive rates from 5% to 40% on the principal value of the estate exceeding 20 lakh rupees was imposed. The Estate Duty Act 1953 was amended in 1958 to change the definition of accountable person, lower the applicable threshold and redefine slabs. However, after 32 years, it was abolished in 1985 by Rajiv Gandhi's government after it came under sharp criticism. Why? Well, here are the reasons. In the initial years of estate duty, collections were lower than the budgeted estimates. For instance, in 1954-55, the government had budgeted 25 lakh rupees as estate duty revenue in the first year of implementation. However, it was later revised down to 8 lakh rupees. In the following year, in 1955-56, estate duty was budgeted at 21 lakh rupees but came in much lower at 13 lakh rupees. The high cost of collection and double taxation in various forms of wealth tax was cited as reasons for abolishing estate duty. In his budget speech of 1985-86, then Finance Minister V.P. Singh said the existence of two separate laws for tax on property, one, wealth tax before death and estate duty after death, amounted to procedural harassment of taxpayers. He also said that estate duty had not achieved its objectives of reducing the unequal distribution of wealth and assisting estates in financing their development schemes. Even after its abolition, the idea of inheritance tax remained alive and was part of official and unofficial discussion. In December 2018, then Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said at a public event that hospitals, universities and other institutions in developed countries receive large endowments due to factors like inheritance tax, but this practice is not prevalent in India. There was some talk about the reintroduction of inheritance tax in the 2019 Lok Sabha election cycle, and the idea was discussed internally during the budget making exercise that July. India also had a wealth tax and a gift tax but were abolished in 2015 and 1998 respectively. Calls to tax billionaires to build more equitable societies have been growing louder globally. There have been discussions about levying a global minimum corporate tax rate and a proposal in the US to levy a minimum 25% tax on taxpayers with wealth over $100 million. France and Brazil have pushed for a G20 declaration on taxing the super rich by July.